Hey guys, welcome to another digital art walkthrough tutorial, and in this one I'll be showing you how I go from a blank canvas to this image over here. So let's get started. Now in this one I'm not using my usual angular kind of line art, right? So in this particular image I'm going to be using a more of like a curved I'm going to be using more of like a curvy outline where there are going to be lots of curves, and it's not going to be as angular as my typical line art style. So just like always, starting out with the basic guidelines, trying to figure out the proportions and all of that, trying to figure out the pose. You can see the line of action there down the middle. It just helps to show the direction of the chest, how the chest is twisting or turning. And now I'm starting to add the detail, trying to figure out where the drapery is. Now this is a good opportunity for me to explain, just give you a little tip on drapery. So when you're drawing drapery, always remember that the majority of fold patterns we observe in nature are the result of numerous acting forces, right? Not just one. So always remember that you're going to have gravity. No matter what, gravity is always going to affect how clothes wrap around surfaces, right? So if there's a compression, you always have to consider the fact that there's also gravity. So you can see on his left arm there, you can see the kind of crisscross pattern that's there. That's like something called, that's where you have these intersecting forces. So first of all, you have the force of gravity, right? So which is moving vertically, and then you also have the compression, which is moving horizontally. So that gives you that that crisscross pattern you're seeing there. And also look at his elbows and the top of his biceps, right? Those are like compression points on the jackets. So you just have to think about where the cloth is going to compress and form compression bands. And also on his, just right above his forearm there's some compression, so there are going to be some folds over there as well. Just flipping the canvas. Another pro tip, please always remember to flip your canvas from time to time, because of symmetry, right? So sometimes I think one issue that I discovered I had from just flipping my images was that what would appear straight to me would actually slant towards the bottom right. So whenever I flip an image that I'm working on, it always appears like the lines are slanting towards a certain direction. So after doing that over and over again, I just got to adjust the way I see things, adjust the way I draw lines, and actively, I mean, now I'm more aware of that problem. So I'm starting with the lines. Remember I said for this one I'm going to be using more of like curvy lines, not my usual sharp angular lines. So just trying to show the folds of the cloth, thinking about the areas that are going to be compressed and all that. So now I just created another layer, clipped it to the character, and then filled it with a gray, and now I'm starting to paint in the details. So I'm starting to paint in the color, painting the lights hitting him. So I'm thinking the light source is coming from the left side and above. So I'm just thinking about the forms that are going to catch some lights. Remember, it's the same process. Whatever it is you're rendering, you just start from the bigger forms, and then you go in and add more detail, right? So you can see when I selected his entire cranium, and then I just, like a ball, and then I just rendered that whole form, right? So you just have to be able to pick the forms one by one, and then add the lighting. You can also see what I'm doing with the color, I'm already thinking about like cast shadows and all of that. So you can see the cast shadow his hand is making over his jacket there. Yeah, you can also see the cast shadow from his head, right? So yeah, another pro tip I'd like to share with you is something called halfway to black. So the quote-unquote halfway to black observation offers you a way to calculate the shadow value of a matte surface, right, in normal daylights, right? So what that means basically is, if you're rendering any form in like typical sunlight, regular sunlight, you're going to pick the base color of that object, right? And whatever value that is, you just go from that point towards black, halfway towards black, right? So that will be the shadow value, right? So that will be like the cast shadow value. The main thing you should note there is that the true value to consider is not the value of the object that is creating the cast shadow. So for example, if his head is kind of like a dark gray, right, I'm not going to pick that dark gray on his head, right? If his shoulder is white, the head is dark gray, I'm going to pick, since the cast shadow is falling on the shoulder, I'll pick that white color on the shoulder and then go halfway towards black, right? And that will be my cast shadow value. But for this image here, right, you can see that it's not like he's outdoors, he's not under normal daylight sunshine conditions. It looks like he's indoors, and then there's this lights coming from the top left, and then like the room is like kind of like it's in a dark room, so that way you can just go darker depending on the kind of environment the character is in. So if it's in a really bright room, you can even make the cast shadow a bit lighter, right? So if it's in a darker room, you can make the cast shadow darker than the halfway to black. So and if you notice, for the darker areas, particularly the parts below, I use this gradients. I use like a gradient to add a multiply layer with some, just a tint of teal blue or teal green, just to add some color to the shadow. And now I'm painting in the highlights, trying to bring out more of the forms, create another layer on multiply, and I'm adding in more cast shadows and more shadow areas. Just trying to separate the forms, create more separation using lights and shadow. Here you can see how the drapery rests on like his forearm there. So just look at how just going in and then adding in more detail. Right, it's all about knowing where to add cast shadows, where to add ambient occlusions, where to add highlights, and that just helps push your forms further. Trying to separate all the forms. And then adding in more areas that are going to catch more lights, making them brighter. Just making more selections, trying to bring out the forms, making some parts even brighter, and now rendering the eyes, the glow on his eyes. So some of the lights will bounce off the side of his nose, under his eyebrows and all of that. So, and then I'm adding some bounce lights just to bring out the form, make it look more three-dimensional. So there's some bounce lights. That area under his right arm there, you can see that it's like there's lights bouncing off other parts of his suit and onto the underside of his arm as well. So you just have to think about how the light is going to interact, how the light is bouncing around. And I'm adding some atmospherics. I thought of making it like there's some dust around, so you can see like some sun clouds at the background as well. So now I'm just trying to figure out, just experimenting with some brushes to try and add some style to it. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something from the video, let me know in the comments. Also let me know what kind of things you want me to explain in subsequent videos. If there's anything about my process that you don't really understand, let me know so I can make a video on that as well. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.